Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cando's Links to Learning Thursdays edition. My name is Elizabeth, and I'll be moderating today's session. Today's workshop title is called Outreach and Attracting Connections. Many business professionals are wrapping their minds around how to navigate the all digital, all the time place that we find ourselves in. Although social restrictions are easing, the digital economy has advanced to the point where there's no turning back now. In order to become more confident doing business online, part 2 of the personal branding series shows you how to share information and reach out in a way that attracts like-minded people to you who could become partners, customers, and or a great referral source. Online networking is the key to securing new business opportunities, and this webinar will help you to become more comfortable and confident meeting others and building relationships online. I would like to welcome Loa. She will be today's speaker. With that said, Loa, I'll get you to introduce yourself, and I now pass the virtual microphone to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Beth. Good morning, everybody. As Beth mentioned, my name is Loa Fridfinnson of Activate Corporate Relations and Training, and we are here today to talk about an important topic, pivoting yourself into the digital economy, making sure that you've got a really strong personal brand so that you can then start to attract like-minded people to you to build your career, to build personal and business relationships that can then turn into opportunities for your nation. So I've been doing this work for approximately about 20 years. I've been running a marketing agency helping small to medium-sized businesses to both build their brands as well as reach out online. And I've been I had the honor of working with both Indigenous and non-Indigenous businesses in a consulting capacity, as well as offering business training for Indigenous communities for the last 10 years. And I have developed a 15-course business curriculum to help Indigenous people who are interested in starting and running businesses that they're passionate about, to give them the tools and the knowledge to make that an easier journey for them, as well as I've developed a number of youth programs to help give the youth the confidence to move forward in the direction of what they want in their career and what they want their life to look like. So I've been really honored to be able to do this type of work, and I'd like to also acknowledge that I am very grateful to live, work, and play on the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nation people. And so with that, let's get started with this learning session today. It's always nice if people can turn on their cameras, but I understand some people like to just kind of listen to the information in the background, so that's okay too. But this is a session of, we always learn a lot better when we're interacting with the material. So if I ask questions and you feel like you want to be able to provide some answers, please do. We all can learn from each other. We've all got experiences as business to business buyers, as well as buying from retail outlets. So let's just make sure that we're sharing and doing as much as we can to be interactive and learn today. I'm just going to share my screen. Give me 1 second. Zoom is still a little bit clunky when it comes to the screen sharing idea. Okay, so yesterday we talked about what is a personal brand, what does that look like, and how do we go about building one for ourselves? We're going to highlight a few of the key takeaways yesterday, and then today we're going to focus on how to position ourselves in terms of what do we say about ourselves when we're out there in digital media, whether it's social media or we're doing videos on behalf of our company, or we're writing blogs. So there's a number of ways that you can be putting yourself out there in order to meet other like-minded people, just to be able to grow your network online and attract more business opportunities for your nation or your company. So today we're also going to focus on positioning yourself with content creation and what that looks like. So in summary of yesterday, what we discussed was stepping out in social media doesn't have to be a really crazy, scary thing. Although for some of us who are not digital natives, like Gen Xers and Boomers, it can be a little bit of a cloudy area. Like, what do we do? Where do we start? Well, first of all, it's important to know ourselves and know what we care about, know what we're an expert in, understand who our audience is and the people that we're able to serve and to help enhance their lives and their businesses. We also need to know how can we position our area of expertise in a way that we can be in the channels and be discovered by people who are looking for the types of products or services that we offer. What kind of information can we put together to be able to provide that to our audience that's going to enhance their lives in some way? And what tools can we use to make this whole process a lot easier? Because content creation can be a bit of an animal all on its own. There's just so much media out there, and where do you start? So I'll give you a few examples today of what I do and what other people share, in the hopes that it may spur some of your creativity. And also, we're all creative in some way, and we're all able to use different channels that we're more comfortable with. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. Now let's watch a video on personal branding to kind of catch you up to yesterday, and then dive into the material a bit more. Okay, so that was just a really brief example, an overview of what a personal brand is. So if we touch on all the steps, the first step is understanding who you are and what you value, because what you value is going to be the same and similar to what's important to your audience. And if you can really understand how to match your values with what they care about, then it's going to be a whole lot easier for you to build your own community and expand your network online, because you're going to be putting out content that attracts like-minded people. What are you an expert in, as I mentioned earlier, and how can you position what you do and the value that you add to others, and put that into different forms of media that you can then share online? What channels are you thinking about using to reach your audience? What channels are they most frequenting? And where are you most comfortable? Some people are great writers and they enjoy expressing their expertise through blogs, for example, written blogs. Other people really enjoy podcasts and doing podcasts, or sharing information on their area of expertise on video. So what kind of media are you most comfortable using? And if you're not doing any of them at this time, that's okay. Just pick one and start to dip your toe in the water. And by the way, blogs don't have to be huge, long articles. They can even be up to 500 words on a topic that you think is really hot today, that you feel would be helpful to your audience. Okay, so just start somewhere. I know it can be a little bit intimidating for those of us Gen Xers and Boomers who weren't born with a smartphone in our hands, but if you, the more you start to take action and do a bit more writing or maybe do some videos, the easier it gets and the better you get at it. So just, yeah, just think about what area do you think that you could start on first in order to dip your toe in the water and start to get more familiar with communicating online. And which channels are is your audience using? Likely, most of us in business and who are either running businesses or are decision makers, you're going to find other like-minded people on LinkedIn, because that is the largest online networking space that exists right now. The other channels are also important, but LinkedIn is going to be number one because it is also, if someone was to search you online on Google, which most of us do a search before we're on a person or a product before we're thinking of doing business with them, and we see what comes up on Google. So make sure that your LinkedIn profile is really well developed, because that is the first thing that will show up on you on a Google search. And then what is your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? What kind of difference are you making for your target audience or for your community? What are your goals in terms of reaching out? What is it that you want to say, and what is the message that you would like to send? Not only about your values, specifically when it comes to personal branding, which is another word for individual branding, and also what are the values and how is your nation or your business communicating? It's really important that you not only have a really strong presence for yourself as a professional individually, but also that your company or your nation is communicating really effectively as well, because essentially that's your product, that's what you're selling. Okay, and then once you know what your goals are in a certain time frame, for example, what your goals are over the next year to develop your own brand, as well as to attract more opportunity for your nation or your company, it's really important in order to get to where you want to be that you know what you identify exactly what that looks like. Okay, and then when? So what is your strategic plan for implementation? And what is based on the goals that in the objectives that you've set, what does that plan look like? And of course, you have to research your target market and know exactly what channels they're communicating through and what type of content they like to receive, so that then you can tailor your information and share your knowledge in a way that it's going to land best with them. So let's talk about your target market for a second, because it's really important. In order to attract like-minded people, you need to know exactly who they are, what they care about, and where they spend their time. So who is your audience? What are their demographics? Are they male? Are they female primarily? Where are they geographically located? Are they local? Are they national? What are their characteristics? What are their buying habits? What do they care about? What do you have in common with them? What values do you share? And then how can you help them in their lives? It's all social media is and reaching out online is all to do with the focus should be how can you help others? How can you make their life better? How can you enhance their businesses? Okay, because when you think about it as a buyer yourself, whether you're buying from a retail store or you're buying from a business, say on behalf of your nation, you're hiring a vendor. So we all have this in the back of our minds when somebody approaches us as they're selling something to us. We all have this thought of what's in it for me. So when you're reaching out to your ideal customer or client or partner, you have to be able to answer that question before they even think to ask it, what's in it for me? Of course, they're not going to say it in those exact words, but they're going to start inquiring about how you can help them. Okay, so think about how you're able to answer the benefit statement that your client or your customer or your community member is thinking about. How are you able to add value? And then after we've identified our goals, our target market, we know who we are, we need to figure out what tools make the most sense for us to reach out. There are a lot of wonderful digital media tools that help us to be a lot more productive in terms of the content that we can put together, and to be able to get it out through all of our social media channels. So as I mentioned, LinkedIn is the top place that we all need to be, those of us who are in business, because it's the first thing that comes up in a Google search. So make sure you've got a really strong LinkedIn profile, and it's you've got a great headshot for your profile image. You've filled out your summary and what you do, who you do it for, and the kind of value that you add. Ask for recommendations, because that is social proof and gives people who are visiting your profile an idea of who you've worked with and how you've helped them. Also use Google. Google has so many incredible free tools that you can utilize to market yourself and on behalf of your company. And also, as I said, Google yourself and see what comes up. And if nothing comes up, then definitely time to start building your professional profile online. Use Hootsuite as a social media dashboard. It is a fantastic app that you can both have on your phone as well as on your desktop, that allows you to easily scan for information on your target market to see what people are saying, so known as social listening, to be in the know on all of the happenings in your industry and your business in your sphere of expertise. See what other people are doing as well. You can follow your competitors and see what kind of information they're posting, which will help maybe spur some idea or encourage some ideas in your mind on how you can position yourself, and also put together great information known as content that you can put out there in different forms of media. Facebook, of course, is the top social media platform that pretty much everybody is using it. But if you're going to use it from a business to business perspective, it's definitely a stronger platform to use for consumer focused companies rather than business to business. And also for community. Facebook is a little more relaxed. I like to say it's like walking into a neighborhood pub and you can see people and interact with them on a bit more of a casual basis. Whereas LinkedIn, it's all business all the time. So we're like walking into a networking event where you're all suit and tied up and you're meeting people and being not quite as social, not quite as open with the personal side of your life. Okay, and then Zoom. Obviously, we're all using Zoom. A lot of us are probably a little bit virtual or zoomed out at this point, but going forward, the consensus out there in the world of business is that we are not going to be reducing the time that we spend in virtual meetings and learning. It's actually going to be probably likely very similar, only we're going to have a bit more of a hybrid model. So more people will go into the office, but there are stats out there now that say up to 75% of business professionals still prefer, or definitely prefer now, to gain all their information online and to have virtual meetings when it comes to decision making. So that's definitely something to remember. If you're a little bit shy on virtual or a meeting digitally, then it's time to start to and put yourself out there a bit and get a little more comfortable with it. Twitter is a fantastic tool to be able to connect with other like-minded people, and it's more short bursts of information rather than when you're on Facebook or LinkedIn, and you can be a little bit more conversational. But Twitter is very quick bites of information and knowledge that you can share. And then Canva is a fantastic program to be able to creatively put together different posts that you can put out there in social media to engage people. It's really important that you use imagery in anything that you write, like for example, blogs, or if you're posting an inspirational quote or anything along those lines, just expressing your creativity in a way that is visually appealing is really important, because especially in today's day and age, we are inundated with media. So if a piece of media doesn't look really attractive or doesn't grab our attention, which is what images and video do, they're the highest, they offer the highest amount of engagement, then we have to just understand that we might not get as much interest if we're just putting out straight posts with straight text, for example. And then YouTube is a video is the highest, has the highest engagement rate right now because our brains are able to comprehend video a lot faster than reading a whole page of text. So if you can, it's really important to start to get comfortable to put videos together, short videos, and be able to communicate both who you are as a person and the value that you add to your target or ideal customer and audience. So here's what Canva looks like. So this is just to give you a little bit of a peek. It has a lot of wonderful templates that you can use, and there is a freemium version. So you can literally just drag and drop imagery and put content in. You can create facts, interesting did you know facts, like what I've done here at the bottom that's relevant to what you do, your industry, to showcase your expertise again. You can also create inspirational quotes like the one I've done down here that has your logo attached to it. And this is, again, all helping to position you as a individual, as showcasing what you care about, as well as a professional, and what is your area of expertise. What information can you share that is going to be helpful to your target audience? Okay, so Canva has all sorts of templates, and it's basically drag and drop, so it's super easy to use, and it just makes your posts look that much more polished, which again is adding to the image that you are portraying out there to the world. So whenever you're engaging in, you want to engage your audience online, you have to start with what's known as social listening. Social media, we're essentially a very digitally savvy environment here in Canada. So it is super important that you have an idea of what your industry is saying on social media. And you can do that by using search tools and also hashtags. So we'll look at that in a second here. So let's talk about what a hashtag is. I'm sure most of us are pretty familiar with using one or two hashtags on our posts, but just to bring everybody kind of onto the same page here, a hashtag essentially attracts people that are like-minded talking about the same topic in one social channel. So if you are using, for example, hashtag Indigenous business, that is going to bring everybody together that tags their posts with that particular hashtag in a social media channel, like for example, LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook. Everybody that tags their posts with that one hashtag is going to be in the same conversation. So this is really helpful for a couple of reasons. First of all, you're going to gain more exposure for your posts because people that are interested in that topic will be perusing all of the various posts that people have made on that topic using that hashtag. Secondly, it allows you to do your social listening and find out what your industry and what your ideal customer or partner is most interested in. What kind of content are they sharing? So figure out at the start of your, when you're putting together your strategy session, what are our key hashtags for our industry? What can we use to hashtag our posts with, where we're going to get a greater exposure in our industry? Okay, so definitely use your hashtags, use them. They're very important, and you can do things like use hashtag your nation, for example. You can also hashtag your region. So I'm in Vancouver, so a lot of my posts will be hashtagged with hashtag Vancouver. You can hashtag your industry, like or your particular role, like hashtag economic development. You can hashtag things like Indigenous business, as I mentioned, which brings everybody together that is posting related to Indigenous business. And then, of course, more general hashtags like hashtag First Nations will bring everybody in together on that. conversation, which is going to be a little bit more general than, for example, hashtag your nation. That's going to be very specific to your nation and anybody that is interested in following what your nation is doing. And make sure that you're always doing at mentions where you're bringing other people directly into the conversation that may not have seen the hashtag, because again, that brings more attention to what it is you're sharing, and especially if it's relevant to particular people that you are linked to on LinkedIn or on Twitter, then that makes sure and it ensures that they do see that post. But make sure you're not spamming people either. The post has to be really relevant to that person. Okay, and so here's what, when I mentioned a hashtag search, this is what that looks like. So the left is on LinkedIn, and I search for Indigenous business, and then it has brought up a whole bunch of people who are posting on Indigenous business. So this allows you to quickly peruse what's going on in your industry and be in the know. On the right side is a LinkedIn, same search, Indigenous business. And again, people often will be more sort of lean more towards one social profile than the other. Some people are more comfortable in LinkedIn. Some people are more comfortable on Twitter. So just you can use them all if you have the capacity to do so. But I find that some people are more drawn to certain social channels. But it's important that you know which social channels your audience is using in order to make sure that you are posting and sharing information that they're going to be more likely to see and come across. So when we're talking about using the right social media profile and platform and what that looks like, you have to think about your demographic and where your audience spends their time. So as I mentioned, Facebook is a little bit more like walking into a neighborhood pub. It's used generally by boomers, by Gen Xers, some millennials, but millennials seem to definitely prefer Instagram, and TikTok is the fastest growing social media app right now too. Although for those of us who have checked out TikTok, it's pretty mind blowing how quickly people can produce really entertaining videos. So I haven't dipped my toe in that water. I'm more of a lurker on TikTok right now, but I'm definitely going to be thinking about what kind of creative strategy I can use for that, because it is becoming one of the top platforms, fastest growing. So it's definitely a place, especially if you're looking to attract the younger generation. For example, in your community, Instagram and TikTok are going to be the two places you're definitely going to want to post in. And then Pinterest, if you are looking to attract primarily women, Pinterest is generally the place that you're going to want to be posting great information, because that is pretty much made up of majority of women. And YouTube, everybody, as I mentioned, is consuming YouTube videos or Vimeo videos. So if you are brave enough to start to put yourself out there on video, then you could do things like interviewing other people in your industry if you don't want to be speaking all by yourself, which definitely makes it a little more comfortable, because you can actually have a conversation with someone else that is going to deliver some value to your ideal customer or partner. You can also produce a video and put it out through all of your social media channels, which will help with engagement and positioning you as an expert in your field, which then helps to grow your personal brand. And if you're doing it on behalf of your company or your nation, then that also helps to bring more exposure to your company or your organization, and helps to, because you as the representative will automatically be bringing not only more attention, but also a more polished look and feel to your organization. And then Instagram, as I mentioned, is a little bit of the younger generation. So if you're looking to attract the millennials or the Gen Zs, Instagram is definitely the place to be. And then you've got different music building platforms, which is not really relevant to our conversation today. So let's talk about content marketing and what that looks like. So content marketing just means what is your expertise and what type of media can you put together to share it in the digital space, and to have it reside on your website as well if it's like videos or blogs or things like that. So you're driving people from social media, from Google search back to your website, where you can then capture their information and continue to market to them until they turn into either a customer or a partner. Okay, so there's all sorts of different types of media that you could be creating. And as I mentioned earlier, Canva is going to be your go-to because it allows you to create really polished content using templates and makes it very easy for you to put together information that other people will find interesting and engaging. So LinkedIn has 740 million members. 50 million of them are businesses. And then it also attracts very educated people who are primarily decision makers at the organization. So it's important, as I mentioned before, that you have a really strong profile there. And 80% of business to business leads are coming from LinkedIn. The majority of companies and professionals acknowledge that it's the place to be if you want to start to build your professional brand and also reach out to attract potential customers and clients that are in the business to business space. So what kind of information can you start to share? Well, here's some examples and we'll dive a little bit deeper into it, but it's important. There is definitely a line that has been blurred between showcasing who you are as a professional, as well as putting out some information that showcases your values and shows who you are as a human being. It's important to be genuine in social media because people are attracted to other people who are like them. And we also want to do business with people that we know, like, and trust. So by putting out information that is, let's say, primarily 80% professional content, 20% you sprinkle in some interesting pieces of information that showcase your values and showcase what you care about, because that is going to attract people to you, is who you are, and show being a genuine human being connecting with another human being. Okay, so these professionals, Indigenous professionals, I found on LinkedIn. And for example, one woman is showcasing showing an image of herself running for a cause. Another two gentlemen up here I think they're Edmonton Oiler players, and they created a really cool Indigenous theme song that they did that they produced on LinkedIn. And then over here is another professional has posted on the development happening in his nation. And then we've got this gentleman in the middle who actually did a LinkedIn post video on how to pick sage. And although it's not completely professional related, he sprinkled it in with all the professional information that he posts on. And what this does is it showcases his culture, talks a little bit about his nation, and gives you an idea of who he is as a person, which is a really interesting and engaging way to attract people to you. And then, of course, you've got down here on the left, my colleague and friend Carol Ann Hilton is the director of a movement called Indigenomics. And so she often does keynote speaks. And so she has posted through her social channels a lot of the speaking that she does. And she's also a best-selling author. So she does a lot of writing as well. And she's really done an amazing job at building her own personal individual brand, as well as really spearheading the branding for her company and putting it on the map, and really making this movement something that has become a national conversation. So I definitely encourage you as well to check out hashtag Indigenomics, see what people are sharing, see what Carol Ann is up to, and also there is a conference coming up where there's going to be business leaders from various nations across Canada, as well as non-Indigenous, so corporate Canada business leaders and economists. And it's just going to be an incredible virtual conference or forum. It's happening on the 22nd and 23rd. So definitely go and Google that and check it out. And then we've got in the middle here, we've got Paul Nutrell, who is of the Squamish Nation, and he often shares on great information on all of the cool things he's doing in business, but he also shares bits and pieces of personal information about the cool things he's doing with his community, or he showcases sometimes some of his family members. So again, it gives you a peek into who he is as a person, and he's just done incredible. And he's actually one of my past business students at the Squamish Nation, and he has taken marketing and understanding how to build his personal brand as well as his professional brand for his business. So check him out because he's just doing incredible things. And then we've got this gentleman to the right who is posting articles and PR that his community has, or sorry, his nation has received based on the solar project that they have created and developed. So this is the type of content, you really want to mix it up. You want to have 80% of showcasing your personal, professional expertise through different types of media that you can be creating, whether it's blogs, whether it's video, whether it's social media posts and quotes and memes. And also you want to be showcasing who you are as a human being and what you care about. Okay, so let's talk about direct content online and what does that look like when you're reaching out to someone? Well, if you're on LinkedIn, for example, and you do a LinkedIn search for, let's say, Indigenous real estate development, and what comes up is perhaps developers in Edmonton. If you're located in Edmonton and you want to partner with Edmonton developers, real estate developers, then you'll be able to do a little bit of social listening, find out what they care about, what they're posting on. And you'll also be able to go to check out groups that they belong to on LinkedIn and be able to go into those groups and showcase a little bit of your expertise, so then they get to know you that way. And then you can also reach out directly to them through whether it's if you have email or InMail, which is a higher level of subscription in LinkedIn, but you can also do an initial reach out and briefly explain why you're connecting with them and what value you can bring to them. But you have to be really careful that it doesn't come across as a really sort of pushy sales email. And we'll talk about that in a second. So when you're directly contacting people, you want to be brief and to the point. Share your goals and any common associations that you may have. Mention the profile content if you saw something that they posted on that really interests you, or it was something that inspired you. Make sure you mention that, because again, people want to know that they're not just a number. You're reaching out to them because you have mutual interests in some way, shape, or form. And explain what you're hoping to achieve from the conversation. If it's real estate development that you're looking to partner on, let them know that this is something that your nation is an expert in and that you're an expert in, and that you see a mutually beneficial opportunity and what that could look like. And adopt a conversational, enthusiastic tone. Nobody wants to feel like they're talking to a robot or to a person that's not a human being using all these big colorful words. So talk to people how you normally would if you were having a conversation with them. Choose words that reflect your personal voice as well. As I said, you want to be as genuine as you can so that people feel like they're connecting with another human being that's like them. And express interest in helping them to achieve their goals. As I mentioned earlier, we all have this in the back of our mind when we're approached by somebody. What's in it for me? Why should I give up my valuable time to either respond to this email or to connect with this person for a meeting? So you really have to make sure that you're tailoring your communication to your target ideal customer or partner, and that you know what's important to them, and you're able to answer that "what's in it for me" question. And give them a reason to reply to you. So by perhaps asking for advice, opinions, referrals, whatever it happens to be, always have a call to action whenever you're doing any kind of marketing or outreach effort. So here's what not to do. I'm sure those of us who are on LinkedIn have received one or two of these emails. I unfortunately get sales related emails that are just blatant salesy, like no communication about hi Loa, nice to connect with you, thank you for connecting. I see that you're in the Indigenous business industry and you're in marketing. We do XYZ, and I think that we would be a really good team, and maybe there's a way that I can help you to expand your business well, and we can make it a mutually beneficial relationship. You have to really make sure that you know what that person's interests are, and you know who they are as an individual and as a professional before you launch into your sales pitch. So for example, this is a woman that has connected with me on LinkedIn, and she just launched right into what's good for her. Hey, Lo, I believe you might be a fit with my organization. I deal with financial services, and most of my work and my team I do is 100% from online or home part-time. Do you keep your career options open? I'd love to connect and share more details. So she didn't even identify who I am and what I'm potentially interested in. She just went in as if I was another number. And then she again did it again a day later, because of course, I'm not going to respond to every sales related email that I get, especially when people are not treating me as a person, they're treating me as a number. So this is what not to do when you're reaching out. And here's another example. So same thing. She's in the investment world and it's all about her. Here's our mission. Here's what's important here's what we want to achieve. Well, what about what the other person, like, what about what I want? Like, she's not even addressing what my potential needs could be. She's just talking all about herself, her own organization, and what they want. So it's important, in order to make a connection, especially if it's an initial email cold outreach, that you really do your research. You understand who that person is that you're reaching out to and what they care about, in order to make some kind of reference and to make a person to person, human to human connection. And this happens, I can't even, yeah, it's crazy how many times people will just reach out cold and just be all about themselves. So the people that really stand out are the ones that say, hi Loa, thanks for connecting. I notice, you do XYZ and we're in a similar business, and I really think we can help each other, and here's why. Then that gets my attention. When you're looking to locate partners, again, as I said, you could do a search on any of the social channels for your industry or on a particular topic that you're looking on behalf of your nation or your company, where you're looking to expand that part of your business. So for example, Patricia Phillips is the CEO of a development company in Calgary, Alberta. And what I did was a search under real estate developers and city partners in Calgary. And she was one of the many people that came up that are posting on that particular hashtag or search term, as well as the others on other people on the right side who are in real estate development and city planning. So if you're looking for partnerships, then you can find people that are in the industry that you're looking to expand into and follow them and see what they're posting on and understand what they care about, so that you can then go into the same groups. You can communicate the things that are important to you and what your area of expertise in. They likely at some point will see that, especially if you're pretty consistent with your posting, and you can start to build a relationship, because people are going to be more familiar with you. And then once you reach out, they already know you a little bit, and it's not a cold email anymore. So this is a really fantastic way to be able to attract partners and as well as ideal clients, so customers, if you're looking for customers in a certain industry or region. And so here's an example of the type of post that you could be doing. So it's a media article, and it's talking about developers. If you're interested in real estate development on behalf of your nation. So this article is developers thinking bigger to catch Alberta's fresh momentum. So you could either post if there's a great media article on your nation or your company that is involved in some kind of real estate development, or you can also pitch your story to the media in order to see if they're interested in covering, what it is that you're doing. This also will, you can, if you look in social media for related articles like this, so First Nations development, then you can also share information that is relevant and that is interesting to your target market that is non-competitive. So you don't always have to have your own content created. You can also find information that other companies or media have produced, and you could share that as long as it's relevant and you feel it'll be interesting to your target market because you know who they are and you know what they care about. Okay, and here's another really social media savvy, marketing savvy entrepreneur by the name of DJ Osho, or Irene Askew. She's another one of my past students from the Squamish Nation, Indigenous Business Award winner, and she is just killing it in terms of promoting her own personal brand as well as that of her business. She is covered by the media often, and she posts information that's both relevant to what she does and showcasing her expertise in terms of DJing and playing at various events. It's been mostly virtual lately, but that hasn't stopped her from really growing her business. She's also a council member at the Squamish Nation, so she posts on stuff that's important to her that's community related. And she's with the LGBTQ community as well. So she talks about the things there that are of importance to that community. So she really has done a wonderful job, and she's super genuine in social media. So you get a sense for who she is as a person, and you can see she uses lots of hashtags. So make sure that you check out people that are doing a really great job at positioning themselves in social media, and so then you can get ideas from them for positioning yourself, in your personal brand, as well as on behalf of your company. As I mentioned, Carol Ann Hilton is another fantastic business leader, Indigenous business leader to be able to follow, because not only is she super inspirational in Indigenous business and economic empowerment, but she posts some really great, engaging information that showcases who she is as a professional, and also the movement and the company that she's building, the Indigenous Institute, is you can see based on her posts the type of polish that she has and how she communicates what's important to her and what's important to her business. Here's another example that I mentioned earlier. Indigenous-owned solar farm opens in remote northern Alberta community. So this nation was covered for, when I say covered, that means the media wrote stories on the nation about their solar farm. And again, this is the type of information, First Nations are really becoming huge leaders in the renewable energy space. So if your nation has, and this is obviously a really hot topic right across Canada, right across the world. So if your nation is doing anything that is eco-friendly or has some high tech happening in the way of building solar farms or wind farms or hydro or anything else that is contributing to the the nurturing and the ecological benefit of the planet, then definitely be posting on that, because that is of interest to so many people, and especially in the Indigenous business space. But also, if you're doing other really cool things like in real estate development or industry, then you can pitch it to the media, see if they are interested in covering your story, because that helps to position your nation or your organization as an expert in that particular area. It brings more eyeballs, brings more attention. And also, if you're the spokesperson on the story, then that helps to position you as an expert in your industry as well. And of course, whenever you post anything on social media, if it has really great news value or is excellent information, people are going to want to share it, because that's what social media is all about, sharing information that where we can help each other. And then every now and then you'll definitely want to do the odd ha that shows how it shows your personality, a little bit about your personality. So although this is not a professional post, as I mentioned, you can sprinkle in some personal related information, and something that will maybe engage or amuse your audience is always good, because as human beings, we love to have a laugh. So this is, and also you always want to be tasteful, right? So this is something that it's cute, it's funny, and I think everybody can probably relate to it. And so here's another example of Greg Hoff's an Indigenous entrepreneur, and he's sharing on a webinar that he's doing. So for example, a lot of us are doing webinars like this these days. And it's a great way if you can get the recording and you can share it in your social media feeds, or you can put part of the recording or all of the recording on your website to, again, showcase your expertise. And that's really going to help with your personal brand, and also just to position your company as a leader. So that is another mentioned, like just mix up the type of media that you can put together to keep people always engaged and interested in what it is you're going to produce next. So in summary, as you are building your own personal brand, which is your professional brand as an individual, and your company brand, you'll be able to attract, if it's whether it's job opportunities or partnerships, you'll be able to expand your network to grow your business. People will start to see you as an expert in a certain field, and you'll just be able to open up your world to new opportunities in every facet. So let people see you. At the end of the day, it's really important that people see the genuine person behind the business. Okay? Nowadays, it's so important that we make that human to human connection, because if we land on a website, for example, that doesn't really have that human feel, we likely will not stay there very long. As well as if we see a person that is all business all the time and there is absolutely no sharing of personal values, then we don't really get to know who they are as an individual. And we all want to do business with people that we know, like, and trust. So make sure that you are showing some of your personality in some capacity, as well as posting great information on your area of expertise and being the author of that great information. So I hope this has helped you to shed a little bit of light on how you can go about positioning yourself in the digital media space. We are not going back anytime soon to less digital. In fact, it's just going to continue to expand in terms of the amount of communication that we are doing online. So if you get more comfortable with it and you're able to really position yourself in the way of how you'd like people to see you, then that's going to pay off in spades. So please do get in contact with me if this is an area that you would like a little bit more information on or coaching on, and I would be happy to point in the right direction or help where I can. Okay, and at the end of the day, just remember, you can't control the wind, but you can always adjust your sails. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here today, and I will hand it back to Elizabeth. Thank you.
Oh, I really like that ending there. That was awesome. Thank you, Law, for that informative and enjoyable presentation. Cando has always Cando has invited Loa to present a couple times, and each time she always presents such amazing insight.
Thank you.
Just to reiterate the fact that there's no turning back. Unfortunately, we will continue leading a digital economy. You are 100% right. So this information was really useful. At this time, does anyone have any questions or comments for Loa? I do see one here. Susan, excellent information. Thanks so much, Loa.
Oh, my pleasure, Susan. Thank you for being here today.
Great. Well, if there's no comments or questions, we hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you,
Take
Elizabeth.
care.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody. Have a great day. Bye.